All right, let's jump right in. We're going to talk about a poem that almost everyone knows, or at least thinks they know. Robert Frost's The Road Not Taken. And here's the thing, there's a really good chance that the way we all quote it, the meaning we all give it, it might be completely wrong. I mean, you know these lines, right? You see them everywhere, on posters, you hear them in graduation speeches, they're all over social media. They've basically become the anthem for being your own person, for rugged individualism. But is that really what the poem is about? Is it just a simple be different message, or is there something way more complex, maybe even a little ironic, hiding right there in the words? Well, that's what we're going to dig into. Okay, so first things first, let's talk about that popular interpretation. You know, the one we all know. Yeah, the common understanding is super straightforward, right? Be a trailblazer. Don't just follow the crowd. The idea is that making that unconventional choice is what's going to define you, make your life special. And look, it's a great message, but it might not actually be what Robert Frost was trying to say. So to really get to the bottom of this, we have to go right back to the beginning of the poem, to the speaker, who's literally just standing there at a fork in the road. It's such a simple but powerful image, isn't it? You've got this lone traveler and a big decision to make. He's in a yellow wood, and he knows he can't go down both paths. That's the central problem, the dilemma the poem kicks off with. And of course, this is where the poem gets its real power. It's all a big metaphor. The walk in the woods, that's really about the journey of life, right? And that fork in the road isn't just about which trail to take. It's about all those huge choices we face that end up shaping our entire future. And the details Frost gives us here are so important. That yellow wood, it makes you think of autumn, a season of change. Maybe it even hints that our speaker isn't some young kid anymore. And then there's that line about the road bending in the undergrowth. I mean, what a perfect way to say that you can never really know where your choices are going to take you. The future is always a little bit hidden from view. All right, now we get to the heart of the whole misunderstanding, this whole idea of the less traveled road. This is the line everybody remembers. But did he actually choose the road that was less traveled? If you look closely, the poem itself gives us some really clear and honestly pretty surprising clues that he didn't. Okay, check this out. Right away, he says he took the other path because it was just as fair. See? Not better, not more challenging, just equally good. That's our very first clue that this whole less traveled thing might not be what we think. And then he gets even more specific. The speaker actually admits that when you look at how many people have walked on them, they were worn really about the same. So no difference there either. And here's the final nail in the coffin for that less traveled idea. He says that on that particular morning, both paths equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. Basically, nobody had been down either road yet. The leaves were fresh on both. The two roads were, for all intents and purposes, exactly the same. So here's the key takeaway. The choice he made was totally arbitrary. The paths were identical. What the speaker does is he justifies his random choice by telling himself a story about it, that his path wanted wear, that it was more adventurous. He's creating meaning after the fact to make himself sound like a bold nonconformist. Okay, so this brings us to the poem's famous ending. This is where the speaker fast forwards and imagines himself looking back on this very moment years and years from now. He says he'll tell the story with a sigh. Now, a sigh, that could mean so many things, right? It's such a powerful and, well, ambiguous word. What kind of sigh is he talking about? The poem never actually tells us, and that's kind of the whole point. I mean, is it a happy sigh of satisfaction, like, I made the right choice and it made all the difference? Or is it a sigh of regret, a sad, wistful feeling for the path he didn't take, for the life he'll never know? The poem just leaves it hanging. It's completely open to interpretation. And just think about the title for a second. He didn't call it The Road Less Traveled. He called it The Road Not Taken. That title puts all the focus on what was left behind, suggesting this feeling of longing, this constant wonder about what if. The choice he didn't make is the one that's still on his mind. So what does this all add up to? What's the real point of the poem? Well, it turns out it's not about the road at all. It's about the story we tell ourselves about the road. This chart really breaks it down perfectly. You have the reality of the moment, two identical paths, a totally random choice. But then you have the story he's going to tell later, this heroic tale of being a nonconformist. He completely leaves out the fact that the paths were the same and just creates this powerful myth about his own decision. You see, the difference the poem talks about wasn't in the road itself. The difference is made by the story he tells later on. And honestly, don't we all do this? We take all the messy, complicated, sometimes random things that happen in our lives, and we weave them together into a narrative, a story that makes sense and gives our life meaning. This Thornton Wilder quote really gets to the heart of it. The poem is all about that freedom to choose. Not just the freedom to choose your path, but maybe even more importantly, the freedom to choose the story you tell about that path. That's where the real power is. And that really leaves us with one final big question. The poem isn't telling you to go out and find the less traveled road. It's more like a mirror. It's showing us how we, as humans, create meaning from our choices. So the question for you is, what's the story you're telling about the roads you've taken? And how has that story made all the difference for you?